to open the window so that we get some more air here. Well, Tom, you visited one of the countries and it was Wales, wasn't it? So now we go to Wales. Childhood memories, Denise, and sound effects by our sound engineering students.
My story starts with a recent walk on a lovely sandy beach not far from where we live, and my boyfriend and I went there one weekend. Lots of shells have been thrown up by the sea, and some of them are quite interesting ones, all different shapes and sizes, and I decided to pick up a few and take them home with me. And when I got them home, they started to remind me of childhood holidays when we first started to go camping with my parents and my younger brother. So, how did it all get started going on these camping holidays? Well, some friends of my mum and dad's, they've been camping for a number of years and they had young children too, and they explained sort of how good they found it, all the fresh air, cheap, easy holidays. So my mum and dad were sold on the idea and thought, yeah, we'll give that a go. So off they went and bought the tent and all the other camping goods that we needed, the airbeds, the sleeping bags, the cooker and all the other paraphernalia, the lights, etc. Got all of that ready, and then we thought we need to practice putting this tent up. So in the garden at home, a number of times we had a go. We put the tent up, we took the tent down. We tried again, we put it back up, we took it down, until we were perfect in putting it all together. There were some false starts with that, because I think we were missing a few bits of the instructions, and it certainly looked strange the first few times we did it, but we managed to get it all sorted, slick, we knew what we were doing, and we were ready for our holiday. So the day dawned of our holiday that we'd been long planning and waiting for. Everything was packed away, every nook and cranny in the car was used to get all the equipment in. My brother and I on the back seat, wedged in with all the goods packed tightly around us, and enough food I think for about 3 months, never mind the 3-week holiday that we were planning for. So we were all ready and off we set. Our holiday is in Wales, on the west coast of Wales. A nice destination's been chosen with a lovely sandy beach, castle, plenty to do to keep us occupied all that time we're away. So it takes a long, long time to get there. We're wondering if we'll ever get there. You know what children are like, they want to be there now, not take time. But eventually we get there, we see the campsite, have a look round, choose where we're going to put our tent. It's a little bit windy and blustery that day, but all the practice did help, and we got our tent up, ready, got everything in it, all settled in, had a nice meal that night, settled in for bed. So the next morning, we woke up, first thing I heard was my young brother shouting, "Mum, Mum, I'm moving, I'm floating, help!" And we all got up to find him sort of floating around on his airbed. The tent had let a load of water in overnight, and what we didn't realise is this lovely place that we thought we'd chosen to put our tent was in the worst possible place in the field, in a little hollow, and all of the water that came down overnight as it rained and poured collected in the bottom of our tent. So the next thing we had to do, pack the tent away, move it, get settled again for the rest of our holiday. One thing I remember from that holiday is spending time down on the beach. It was a lovely, big, golden sanded beach. The ocean was a little bit cold, but we did go swimming sometimes, we were brave. But one thing we did have to look out for was jellyfish. They often came in big invasions, and they'd be on the beach, in the sand hidden, or in the water floating around. And if they touched you, or if you trod on them, oh, it would sting. Between the campsite and the beach there were these really big sand dunes which my brother and I liked to go and play in. You could get lost for ages running up and down them, but one of our best games was to take the towels with us and use them as little sledges to go down some of the inclines on the sand dunes. We did it again and again and again, but what we found after several days of this was the towels were getting quite threadbare and in holes, which my mum wasn't too happy about. There are lots of interesting things to investigate in the sand dunes, and one of the things that my brother found was this metal casing, which was his treasure, and he took it back to our tent, put it away in his bedroom. What he didn't know was what was in there. And the next morning we all got quite a shock because out had poured all these horrid insects that were infesting this little bedroom in the tent. We didn't always play on the beach or in the sand dunes, we also played around the tent, and one of the games that my brother and I started was there were some stones around which we gathered up and started to play shot put with them. So I think I got a little bit too involved in that game and started to do the swinging round and things and really launched this shot put. But what I hadn't realised that my dad was walking past at the time and it caught him on the ankle, and he was in agony for days after that, so much so I didn't know we'd managed to get home because his ankle swelled up so much. Those 3 weeks went really quickly, but we had enjoyed it so much, all of us, that we invested in a bigger and better tent, which to me was a great delight because I had my own bedroom in there, and we had probably about 5 or 8 years of going back camping, nearly always to Harlech, this place on the Welsh coast, on the west coast of Wales, with a castle, the beach, the sand dunes. And just all of those memories came back from that recent walk on a more local beach to where I live now, and just thinking about those lovely family holidays that I had as a child. And that's my story, but I'm sure you have something very similar that you could tell.